Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Welcome to Thursday. One step closer to the weekend. We've almost made it. Good evening, Tortuga, Catbat, Sticky Rice, Jim, Kingsman, and Peter. Glad you're all here. Welcome to Spirit of St. Louis Airfield near St. Louis, Missouri. Gonna have some fantastic morning flying, because who doesn't love flying in the golden hour? No, I do. Gonna have a little fun with some more tailwheel action today. Because it's always good to practice a new skill. And one of the most challenging aviation skills one could try and master is that of the tailwheel. Or as it's technically referred to as conventional landing gear. Good evening, Noel and Dougal. Glad you're along. Tonight we will be in the L-19 Bird Dog. By Black Box Simulations. Remains one of my favorite. By default, it comes with three variants: a Tundra tired equipped bush version, a float plane version, and the standard version, which we see here. If you're looking for suggestions on airplanes, I would highly suggest something as to the effect of a 152, one of the Cubs, and at most a 172, because this thing is not fast by any stretch of the imagination. This was designed as a liaison or observation aircraft for the United States military back in the late 60s, or mid to late 60s. Based on the Cessna 170 platform, highly modified for military use, including going from a 4-seat to a 2-seat tandem, or well, it's a 4-seat side-by-side to a 2-seat tandem, and also including many more windows in order to see out of, and to also have bigger windows to have more capability of observing the ground. Good evening, Big Ears. Glad you could make it. You're quite welcome along. So from here, we're going to make our way to Jefferson City, Missouri, flying westwards, so we'll be flying away from the sun. We are currently just sitting outside St. Louis, Missouri. We'll be flying to Jefferson City, making a stop in Sedalia, Missouri, just to the east of Whiteman Air Force Base. And from there, we'll make our last leg deep in downtown Kansas City, just on the Missouri side of the border between Missouri and Kansas. Because there is a Kansas City, Missouri, and a Kansas City, Kansas. We are, in fact, on the East USA server. Scotland 737 project is on his final leg, on his way to Edinburgh. Only 388 nautical miles left on the world tour. Kevin M, or down in front, is coming in. You're welcome along, my friend. So the last report of winds I've heard from here, as if you look carefully at the windsock, the winds are calm. And that one confirms it. Ben McClure is here. Welcome, welcome. So we're going to go ahead and pop inside of the cockpit. If I can hit the right buttons, which I having trouble with. There we go. So we are now in the cockpit. We will set the altimeter based on the last reading we have. We're going to set the mixture to rich. I crack the throttle a bit. This, Ben, this is the Cessna L-19 Bird Dog by Black Box Simulations. It's one of them real nice low and slow airplane. So we'll go ahead and turn the master switches on. Turn our beacon on. going to go ahead and turn the red dome light on as we get rid of the headlamp. Google is loading the sim. We're going to open the windows because that's something we can do on this. We're going to call out clear prop. And we give her a start. We look at all the little windows. You can see above you, see below you. I'm going to go ahead and turn to Unicom. Make sure that we set our transponder to VFR. Make sure all our instruments are lit up. Time in sim is 0700, so 7 a.m. Merlin Flyers here, welcome along. Bad Dog is also here. I'm well, I hope you are as well. And we have a friend in the cockpit apparently. But you have all of the visibility here in this wonderful thing. So we're going to release the parking brake and start rolling down towards the runway. Now, one of the fun parts about a tail dragger is trying to see the center line of the taxiway. That is correct. So, Catbat, you're going to be way overpowered for this particular trip, as we have Fast Pete in another L19. Huzzah. So one of the standard practices of a tailwheel aircraft is S-turns on the taxiway so that you can see the center line. And not hitting the brakes too fast. Real nose it over. The X-Cub is a fine choice for this trip. The Bonanza is highly over-equipped. Any of the Cubs are perfect. The 152 is a good choice. The 172 is a little fast, but not by a terrible margin. We're going to go ahead and turn our nav lights on. We have to do it a couple times because it's a little screwy. Going to turn our taxi light on. Go ahead and put our strobes on. We'll just switch from taxi to landing because we're almost there anyhow. So as we reach the hold short line, we'll wait for everyone to catch up. We'll get our one notch of flaps out. Not that we need a lot of flaps. So we'll go ahead and getting this, everybody's pretty well caught up as we take off from 26 right. Now this doesn't have any fancy radios in it. It's probably, I would say, a bit more basic of an more basically equipped than even the 152 is. So as we're on the runway, we're going to slowly increase the power. You'll see there's a lot of footwork involved with the tail wheel. We get up on the mains, the tail is in the air.
Kilo Victor Lima Alpha automated weather observation 1300 Zulu. Wind calm.
Well, we don't want to be listening to that. So we'll just kind of do that. And we're airborne. So up go the flaps. So we'll do our standard casual left turn around the airfield while everybody gets airborne. As we're wheels up before sunrise. We can see Red Dragon CYM. We see down in front. We see Kingsman joining us. I see Dougal. I see Fast Pete. I see Tortuga, Commandant Muttley, Dread Fan, and Catbat. It's all good, Red Dragon. We are still in the pattern. There is no autopilot in this, but that's part of the fun. We're getting bounced around pretty nicely, though. As we continue to circle the Spirit of St. Louis airfield. Roger that, Red Dragon. We're just making sure everybody's up, and it seems that most everybody's up, and I'm sure you will catch us in no time at all. We have, how about that sunrise? And this is why I choose to fly in the mornings or the evening, because it just looks spectacular. Yeah, it's somewhere around 2,000, 3,000 feet. We're not going to set ourselves hard into a set altitude, but we'll try to stay fairly low. I believe Scotland 737 is doing it and has been doing his world tour in the Mooney. As we see Roger RC on the runway ready to go. So basically we have this river to follow. And I do believe this is around the neck of the woods that our good friend Jim is residing around. So Sunday's trip, or this past Sunday's trip, we flew around Atlantic City, Philadelphia area in honor of outstanding community member Ed Reed. Then on Tuesday's stream, we flew around Texas, which was the neck of the woods of our good friend Scott Voigt. And in this one, we honor our friend Jim, who is an outstanding member of the community, and we're checking out the neck of the woods that he's in. Now, when I said that this thing isn't fast, it's not fast, and I think we've got a headwind, so we haven't gotten far. That's half the fun. As we're continuing to climb, even though we want to stay level. So this is all hand flying. There's no autopilot to speak of in this. Now, one of the other big differences between the L-19 Bird Dog and the Cessna 170B is the engine is a bit smaller. It's a little less powerful, not by a whole lot. The 170 had an engine similar in power to the 172, as the Cessna 170B was the predecessor to the 172. But the L-19 goes a little bit slower in cruise velocity to the standard 170B. It certainly is bumpy. And Jim, it's you do a good service and are a great community member and a good guy, and it's my pleasure to fly around your neck of the woods. And it's a good way to kind of tour the United States, since we had the big USA update. Just look at the shadows on the prop. Isn't that cool? I do believe this is the St. Louis River. We're flying along. As we've got someone that doesn't feel like flying at speed. So we can met up with the magenta line. I have my VFR map just off screen, so that I can maintain some sense of navigation and not get everyone completely lost. I like to do the low and slow. And when I say slow, gives you a chance to really take in the scenery, see where you're going, and enjoy the view out the window. You go too fast, you can't really see where you're going and what you're missing. And the Cessna L-19 still remains popular in the civilian flying world, as it still does a fantastic job as a bush plane. But being one of the low and slow Cessnas, it's great for flying around and enjoying the scenery out the window. I would have flown it yesterday during Murphy's the logs strike back, but the Mooney is quite a bit faster, if roughly twice as fast as the L-19 is. So it didn't make a whole lot of sense, so I figured, you know what, I'll stream it, or I'll fly it on my stream. And here we are. This is one of those airplanes where it's just a pure joy to fly, and you definitely can't be in a hurry when you're in this guy. But that's okay. I'm definitely not in a hurry. See the terrain variation, all the rolling hills and trees, and a wild Dougal McTavish off our left wing. This is definitely all hand flying, so not the straightest track to the next from waypoint to waypoint, but that's quite alright in my book. Well, that was peculiar, to say the best. That was a AMD driver encountered an error. Here, I thought all that had been resolved. I'll definitely have to check for better drivers or see if I can't roll back after the stream. Yeah, that's a lot of CTDs. Checking a couple of things. While Flight Sim reloads itself. See, for the most part, it's been fairly well behaved, so curious as to what exactly is causing it. So no worries, we'll get this all sorted out. Like, and for 7. Any balance. How you doing, Murph? Roger that, Noel. See, in fairness, in my defense, Murphy, it's usually not me blaming you first. It's the chat. So don't blame me, it's the chat. I guess, pretty good, because I still see where everyone is. I will rejoin you all. Dropping down to follow the river as it looks mighty pretty. Absolutely. So might follow Dougal's lead and use the river to guide us. Now we have the weather now correctly set. Absolutely, Dougal. I mean, it's stunning from up here, but I can only imagine how much better it is down low. Just make sure you clear out all the branches before you after you land from your wheels. Oh, you haven't. This is not flat, Jim. There's much flatter places than this, Jim. You have it nice here. This isn't too bad. And I can see the hills. That's not flat at all. Ohio is flat on the eastern part. Indiana is flat. This is not flat. Iowa is flat. Absolutely. Murph is correct. It is stunning. I don't know why the sim decided to put me at 8,000 feet. So it'll be a minute before I get to a more appropriate altitude for the trip. That's definitely on the list there, Dougal. Wiltshire, rolling down. This trip is definitely much more of a sightseeing than an A to B trip. Hills as big lumps on the ground. We need some mountains. Eh. But just think of it, it could be a lot flatter there, Jim. It could be a lot worse. You've got it pretty good from the looks of it. Nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, look at that. That's nice terrain. Some good hiking. Good place to take a hike, do some camping. And with the river, you can do fishing. All sorts of enjoyment could be had. There's more than just cornfields. Absolutely stunning. See Merlin Flyer and a wonderful sunrise. There's Bad Dog. Only if you like the video, Ben. I'm not in the habit of suggesting folks do anything they don't want to. You enjoy the content, I'll happily accept the gratitude of a thumbs up. A thumbs down also helps the algorithm. But just even watching is worth it. As KDMO25 is now following on Twitch. Many thanks, my friend. Do greatly appreciate it. I'm working on getting on there, Dougal. It spawned me in at 8,000 feet for some reason. I'm finally under 4,000 feet. So I'm getting there. There's a bridge up ahead. As we spot the fireflies flying down the river. Well, the L-19 does come with a float plane version. M is beautiful town on the left, absolutely. That's an excellent question, Dougal. I'll let you be the first to test out the theory. Seems Dougal skimmed the water. Nice little town off to the left. See, this is some nice terrain you've got down here. It's not flat. Sully flashbacks. Lumpy's better than flat. I hope the music finds you well. It's a nice, relaxed set of lo-fi, casual music that I particularly enjoy, especially on flights like this. We'll keep clear of the terrain, but close enough to see it anyway. Uh-oh. Hmm. It's certainly frustrating, Dougal. At least this time it didn't knock out Streamlabs. So we reload the sim again. Oh, I can imagine, Dougal. I could sense this frustration you were having with the issues just via text. We shall persevere, though. Although I think, as a precaution, we'll see if using the generic models, while disappointing, see if that solves the issue. Because it can't hurt to try. Yes, but were you just having CTDs, or were they related to AMD video drivers? It is not in the marketplace. It's available at... I'm trying to remember where I bought it through, but as far as I'm aware, it's not available through the marketplace as of yet. Yeah, so Dougal, you may not be having the same issues that I am. But I'm just going to be doing it as a precaution. Because if it still does it with the generic models, I can at least eliminate that. It could just be a driver problem. I might have to do a clean driver install at some point. We almost made it. Right. This. That is... Try it again. No worry, Allie. We've had a few gremlins on our first leg, but there's still plenty of flying to do. And there's no such thing as late. You arrived exactly when you needed to. Absolutely. The Savage Cub is one of my favorite tail wheels in the sim at current. That's good to hear, Allie. Hope you're having that out of the way gives you the opportunity to get some proper sleep and other rest that you need. I know that struggle. Here's hoping. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I'm good at it. All it takes is practice, and I either thump it down or I've had a ground loop or two. So I'm far from and I'm far from good at it. But that's part of the fun, is learning a new skill, a new technique, and expanding upon my knowledge and skill set. And the challenge is fun. That's part of the excitement. Get out of the comfort zone. Do something different. I don't want to talk to you, ATC. There we go. That takes care of ATC. So for sure, the next leg will fly as low as reasonable, because it's a short hop, so we don't need to grab any real sense of altitude. I think for this leg, if you guys want to go ahead and land, that's fine. We'll meet up on the ground. If you want to wait for me so that I can film, so that I can record the landings, that's okay too. I'm flexible. Good question. The winds are calm, so it should be fine either way. Let's do runway 30. Unless the winds say otherwise. Technical's here. Welcome, welcome. Glad you could make it. Six knots from southeast, then we'll do... Well, if it's coming out of the southeast, wouldn't we would still want to go into it. Let me... I didn't even change my weather to live. Let's see. Winds are 150 at 6. So we'll take runway 9. Assuming that the sim is doing an adequate job of actually replicating the weather. Got an eye on Merlin Flyer and Technical. Got Bad Dog. We got everyone else. Ah, but see, you learn a lot from failure. So, knowledge, the gain of knowledge is in and of itself a success. I do have Rex. I like it a lot. It does have something of a performance hit, which is kind of disappointing. I do think that it does a better job accurately depicting the weather than the default live weather. But I don't use it all the time, and I try to limit its use on stream just because the little bit of performance hit can make a pretty big impact on my particular system. We're definitely getting a bit of a headwind flying west. Welcome, Keen. Hope you're well. Glad you could join us for the flight. Actually, we'd have a tailwind. Never mind. Talking out of my backside with the wind. Ooh, that's a bump. And sometimes it's nice just to have the nice hand flying experience. No autopilot, no fancy radios, just pretty much you and the airplane. So I do believe that is the airfield that we're searching for. It's planes like this that really bring back in the core skills of being a pilot. Which is one of the things I appreciate about it. It's kind of like driving a manual transmission car. You're relying on a lot less of the car and more of your ability. And see, that's the opposite for me. I have 0 hours flying in a, or at least that I was able to log in a low wing. I've been in low wing airplanes, and they're not as fun as high wings, in my opinion. Yeah, no, 100%. The tricky bit with the high wing is when you come into land, and you're in the pattern, because you can't see through the wing to clear for traffic. Kind of have to look around. But I would gladly do that to be able to see the ground whilst flying. And all of my log time and the vast majority of my flying in real life has been in a Cessna of some kind or another. Roger that, Noel. PA 28. Yeah, my hours are split between mostly a Cessna 150 and a Cessna 175. My logged hours, I should say. I mean, without a doubt, the most time I have spent in any airplane at all is a 175, hands down. So I have a strong enjoyment and inclination towards the Cessnas. The 150s and the 152s are great little airplanes. There's nothing fancy about them, but they're just good little reliable airplanes. only 158 days until the Eurovision. Yeah, and that's one of the wonderful things about how I fly the 152 in Flight Sim is I set the trim. I don't even need flaps most of the time because it's just like if you set the trim right, once you get to speed, it just wants to take off. Scotland is almost to Edinburgh. As the wind is certainly getting bumpy here in Missouri. Have the runway in sight. It's all good, Dougal. I'll probably bounce once or twice myself. We're about 10, well, we're 5 nautical miles out-ish. But patience is a virtue, my friend. My young friend, patience is a virtue. With the current lockdown orders and such, that I'm sure that that area of the world, businesses that offer delivery service require a bit of extra patience because they're getting much more traffic than usual. So be kind. They're doing the best that they can a lot of times, and that's no reason for us to be unkind to them. It can be difficult to be patient in the world of instant gratification on a lot of things. But that makes it all the more important to maintain patience. As Crispy Possum is now following. Many thanks, my friend. Appreciate it. And there you go. There's some perspective for you, Keen, from Dougal. Another notch into be patient and be kind, because others have it much worse off than you. So to be thankful for what you do have. as I've finally just about reached the airport. Roger that, Catbat. Takes Dougal 20 minutes to drive if he wants takeaway. I'm glad, Kevin. There's still more flying to be done. Once I get my landing in at this airfield. And I do appreciate that, Kingsman. I try to keep my life in perspective as much as possible. It helps me stay thankful for what I have. Kind of goes into the saying of first world problems. So many people in the rest of the world that the internet is foreign to them. They don't know what it is. So to complain about small things that to others would be great luxury is a fair amount of perspective. 100%, Kingsman. 100%. It's always it takes little effort and zero money to be kind to people. So that's something we should always do as best as possible. So we're in the white arc, so we'll put a notch O flaps in. In fact, was it the other week I was driving and needed to get my tires checked. And that's fair, Keen. Just use that as your token of perspective. Because those delivery people are doing the best that they can. And the world's under some pretty extraordinary circumstances right now. We are on our base leg for runway 9er. As I might actually be able to make a landing. So that's max flap as we turn on final. It's all good, Kingsman. So I am by no means certified, rated, or whatever for tailwheel. Any advice I give to you is simply based on experience in flight sim. But instead of flaring where you would in a standard, like a 152, something with tricycle gear, you almost want to keep it as flat as possible. That way the main gear touches down before the tail does. So you're not flaring like you would in a more in a tricycle gear equipped aircraft. I'll do my best, Jim, but I make no promises. See a little bit of a bounce. Then you kind of let it, you dance with the pedals a bit. And you kind of let the tail naturally drift down. And there you have a landing. Probably one of the better tailwheel landings I've had. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to use a different runway for takeoff, something with a little bit less of a crosswind. See, the real trick with anything tailwheel is it's a lot of rudder control. You're dancing with those pedals like Annalisa does when Murphy has technical issues. It's a practice skill. So I wouldn't sweat it too much, Dougal. It takes time and a lot of practice, and I'm not even I'm not even gonna say that I'm good at it. I got lucky. So we're gonna go ahead and go straight into the next set of takeoffs. I will stop at the approach end, or at our departure end, I should say. Let everybody catch up and line up for the takeoffs, or for departures. So we'll sit here at the hold short line. You seem to be at a different altimeter setting than Fast P84. Or something. Those guys around Alaska and the Cubs make it look so easy. Yeah. Now the idea is to stay along the yellow line of the taxiway. Helps main. It was Fast Pete. He's a little lower now. I think it's just a difference of altimeter setting. Not a huge deal. It's just a little odd sometimes. I see a VL3. I see a 152. I see a Savage Cub. I see a couple of X Cubs, and one of the LSA aircraft that I can't remember the name of. Let's see, another X Cub, and Catback in the Bonanza, another VL3. Someone behind Pete. Down in front. So the Cat Mully, Roger RC, Catbat. Alright, we're all here. So we'll start making our way to the runway. We're going to do that rolling pit stop of fuel. Words. Welcome, Pilot Peely. Glad you could make it. Awesome to see it's your first time here. Glad you made it. So, mixture goes to full. We slowly add the power in. We're into the wind. It's not the first time that's happened. I'm starting to wonder if it has something to do with Navigraph. as Pilot Peely has just subscribed to the channel on YouTube. Many thanks, my friend. I do greatly appreciate it. Absolutely. You're always welcome, Pilot Peely. As it barely took a sneeze for us to get in the air here at Jefferson, Missouri, or Jefferson City, Missouri, I should say. That's all right, Allison. I'm just glad you made it at all, and you get some rest, and we'll catch you next time. We're going to start our normal turn as Grim Reaper 3896 has just subscribed on YouTube. Many thanks, my friend. Welcome along. So we don't plan to get a whole lot of altitude here because we don't have all that far to go, but we'll lap the airfield a couple of times while everybody gets up in the air. As I see Papa Joe B has joined us. Metal Boot is having some fun. That's why we're all here. So we'll continue our orbit of the airfield for a little while. You don't need to gain a whole lot of altitude. You'll probably want something slow, like a Savage Cub, or a 152, or a 172, or a VL3. Something that's good with the low speed and low altitude. I think the cruise speed of the L-19 that we're in is about right around 100 knots. So definitely don't want to do the MB339. That'd be way too much. So we're going to go ahead and follow the river a little bit. Maybe a little to the south of it. See, it's that newfangled cloaking device that the U.S. government's working on, and I just threw it in the L-19. I see you, Dougal. You're off my 12 o'clock right now. I should be on your left. So Dougal, I'm almost to your 6 o'clock on the high end. East USA, Pilot Beely. We just took off from Kilo Juliet Echo Foxtrot, and we're heading to Kilo Delta Mike Oscar. And we're looking for Kansas City. Roger that, Pilot Peely. We get a relatively low look at the St. Louis River. Get nice and low. Red Dragon's going after the treetops, picking out their Christmas tree, I suspect. Beautiful part of the country, I'll say that. You have a good night, Kingsman? Glad you could fly along for a little bit. And I hope you have a good evening, and we'll catch you next time. Just a nice, relaxing flight. How I roll. Good night, Kingsman. Very relaxing. Apologize for getting quiet. It's just very calming. Just doing a little bit of flying. It's very much relaxing. Suppose we should keep an eye on our fuel. We're good for right now. I see KDMO up in front. As we have the whole crew flying along. I see a fly Darren. Yep, not sure what to say. It's just a nice, relaxing, low-level flight. And that kind of a day today, just kind of a good day to relax and I took a spot of a nap before the stream got up and running. Oh, goodness. This is almost too relaxing. I'm really glad that they went with the satellite imagery for the ground because it looks so good. And it just makes it makes so much sense to me to have, satellite imagery. It's no small technical feat, but it makes a lot of sense. At least to me. At least, at the very least, for those of us that fly, the GA and the VFR rules, the visual rules, it makes the most sense because it's going to be the best way to navigate is following roads that look like roads, and especially if you're in a familiar area, you can pick out landmarks and say, oh, this should be here, which means the airport should be there, and I'm very thankful that they went the route that they did with it. Yeah, you still got your issues here and there, which is fair, but even so. I'm quite grateful that they did what they did and that we have this flight simulator and it's brought this community together. And such a good community it is. Very happy to be a part of it. And I wouldn't have discovered this community if it hadn't been for Two-Tone Murphy. Kind of the catalyst that drew me in, and it all hit at the right time. Not at all, Fly Darren. You're good. You're always welcome in the flight. Absolutely, Cat Bat. They really did. I mean, it's not to gloss over the little niggly bits that it has, because any piece of software is going to have niggly bits. But to be thankful to just have it, and the fact that they did a fantastic job on it overall, it's just awesome. Yeah, the lighting engine, the reflections, the sounds, it's just hit a lot of tick marks for being a good sim. I haven't. I've touched FSX once just to kind of remember what it was like, and it's hard. It is so hard to go back to FSX from this, is especially take into account that this is straight out of the box, basically. No, no fancy third party satellite imagery, nothing, just out of the box. Unlike you, Peely, I primarily fly the GA stuff, and that's one of the reasons why I'm really glad that they use the satellite imagery, is just for the simple fact of being able to see the real landscape is just huge. I agree, Red Dragon. It hasn't been without the growing pains, but this sim hasn't even been out 6 months yet, and so it's still growing, and they're still developing it, and they're in this for the long haul. They're going to support it for like 10 years at least. So imagine what it's going to be like in another 6 months. Imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years. It's absolutely nuts. Yeah, and I've heard I've heard some pretty horrifying tales of all the downloading and storing of all terabytes of scenery data for X-Plane or FSX or whatever, and not to mention the financial aspect of all of that. Well, Peely is a good dude for orchestrating all the GA flights. One of these days, I'm going to make one of them. Dougal has mentioned the event on the 19th. I am unfortunately otherwise obligated. I have a family Christmas event that day. Otherwise, I'd be 100% on board with participating. But so far, January's open, so just keep me informed. I do believe I have subscribed to the Pilot Peely channel, and I do keep up periodically on the SimWings website. Not to mention Dougal posting from time to time of the events on Two-Tone Murphy Discord. Oh, I so far everyone that I've been able to see has been amazing, but it's a family event. It's a bit of a balancing act. Absolutely. Now, here's a question. Does SimWings have a Twitter active? Because I do use Twitter quite a bit, especially for flight sim related content. Whether it's searching for new releases or just development news, that sort of thing. Because if you guys do, I'll be sure to tweet out the stream when it goes live. Well, depending on who you have streaming. No Twitter? Okay, fair enough. I'll figure something out. we'll get it all coordinated, and I'd be happy to plug SimWings. Y'all disappeared on me too. Oh, you're back on my screen. Yeah, I'm seeing everybody again. Developed a bit of a thing for flying under bridges. That last airport was an easy one. Nice. Well, the sky certainly looks ominous moving forward, so I wonder what the METAR says. Delta Mike Oscar. Winds are, let's see, dew point, pressure, visibility, clouds. That's not helpful at all. They're not reporting winds. Pretty warm down in Sedalia. It's 20 degrees C. Dew point's 17 C. Pressure is 29.86. Visibility is 10 or more. Ceiling is at least 12,000 feet, which I don't think that's entirely true. That's as of 21:53 Zulu. It's not that old. Interesting. I am on live. I'm not sure that I'm not sure which weather is correct. The time I have is roughly 09:24 a.m. Noel, if you change your server and then change it back to East USA, it should hopefully fix it. The multiplayer blinked out on, I think, everyone. Let's... Here's the airport.
Kilo Delta Mike Oscar automated weather observation 15000.
169er at 14. My goodness.
Visibility 10. Sky condition.
Well, let's see. Oh, so we're getting some pretty stiff winds. I forgot what you said the winds are.
Kilo Delta Mike Oscar automated weather observation
169er at 14.
169er at 14. Visibility 10. Sky condition. Few clouds at 900 feet. Few clouds at 4,700 feet. Few clouds at 11,800 feet. Temperature 21 C dew point. 10 C altimeter 2985. Kilo Delta Mike Oscar automated weather observation 1500 Zulu. Wind
Oh, silly live weather.
Kilo Delta Mike Oscar automated weather observation 1500 Zulu. Wind 169er at 14.
Well, tell you what, we'll split the difference. We'll take runway 18 for landing. Which means we're going to turn to the left, turn to the south a little bit. As we hit 5 miles out. I believe there is our field right there. That does help from time to time, Noel. As long as you're enjoying flying, though, that's all that really matters. That's all good, Pilot Peely. I'll try to be the first one down, get myself positioned, and then record some landings. We're going to land on runway 18. That is correct, Catbat. Runway 18. Not a problem. We're almost ready to turn a base. I think we're sufficient to start turning a right base. Get our feet ready for the rudder dance. And get a notch of flaps in. Shows multiplayer aircraft. I could definitely see that as a benefit. There you go, Keen. Glad you enjoyed your za. Enjoying your pizza pie. All right, I'm probably gonna have either a couple of ham and cheese sandwiches or some breakfast for dinner tonight. As Technical flies underneath. So we go full flaps. Now we have more than enough runway for this little airplane. Idle throttle. Oh, and put a little bit more in. Get on glide slope. A little bit of a bounce. Ooh, a lot of left rudder. And that's one way to do it. Yeah, probably. That explained the poor landing. Just gotta turn around, that's all. So we're gonna expedite our travel to catch the landings on the proper runway. There's always one. Metal Boot, if you're watching the stream, either spawn in a different aircraft, a small GA aircraft, or please leave the area. What you're doing isn't funny or appreciated. It's I don't know what jet runway to cover now. I think we'll stick with runway 18. See, I landed on the wrong runway just as a test to make sure you were all paying attention. And you succeeded. As first up is Catbat 9 in the Bonanza. In X Cub is Dougal. There's Technic Al. There's Piat in the TBM. Red Dragon in the light sport aircraft that I don't remember what it's called. There's Fly Darren coming in for landing, followed closely by Commandant Muttley. Don't worry, Peely, we're not going anywhere in a hurry. Pistol. Pipstrel. That one. That one with the name from the place. Yeah, Pipstrel. There we go. Here's Fast P in an L-19. There's Bad Dog in the DA-62. Trying not to land on Fast Pete. Now we might just be waiting for Pilot Peely. Well, we got Merlin Flyer as well. We got some more friends. We got 4 more on final, plus Merlin and Pilot Peely. Inbound. Fair enough, Red Dragon. It's a good thing to practice. It's got a nice challenge to it. And down in front with the 152. Oh dear. That's worse than a CTD there, Dougal. That's not good. There's Roger RC in the X-Cub. Well, see you fly, Darren. Thanks for coming along in the flight. And we will see you tomorrow. As tomorrow's the big Friday. We're 1 day away from the weekend. Oh. Yeah, guys. head off. Catch you on the next one. You too, Peter. Glad you could come along. As Tortuga comes along in the Savage Cub. Technica has to run. Glad you enjoyed the stream. Glad you flew along, and we'll catch you next time. As there's our Marchetta, and there's a Robin. Got one more leg after this. As Merlin Flyer is on final approach. Negative, we are at Kilo Delta Mike Oscar. As Merlin Flyer makes a landing. We can at least see your name, Pilot Peely. I wouldn't blame you at all if you slewed over or dev mode it. That's quite all right. I still have to traverse the entirety of the runway. So for now, as I return the camera towards my plane, if everybody wants to make their way to runway 18 for takeoff, I will join you all in a moment. So you're all at the correct end of the runway. I'm the one that isn't. So I'll be down on that end of the runway in a moment. Do a bit of a fast taxi. This is boring. It's quite all right, Greyhawk. We'll be thinking of you on the final leg of our flight this evening. Or I guess it is morning in the sim. Yeah, they're about what Michigan's kind of falling under here soon. So if you're from Wisconsin, I'm from Michigan. We know each other's weather quite well. As we're off the ground. Aha, sunrise in Tokyo. Right on. Well, I hope Tokyo is treating you well. Well, hello, Commandant Muttley. We're going to start our casual left-hand turn so that everybody can catch up and gather up. So on this leg, we're going to fly into downtown Kansas City while still remaining on the Missouri side of Kansas City. We've got Red Dragon and Roger and Pilot Peely found. I see Peely Dougal. He is on the taxiway as we speak. Catback 9 loves Tokyo. So we'll continue to circle the airfield while the rest of our friends get airborne. So we'll check the weather for our final stop. Reporting calm winds, which I don't know if I believe that. 10 statute miles clear as of 21:54 Zulu. So about a half hour ago, a little more. Altimeter 2980. We want and see. I pull up the charts. So we'll try to anticipate and choose runway 21 for our eventual landing. Unless we get a more accurate METAR with weather report, or with the wind report. So we're definitely not moving at breakneck speeds. As we fly into what seems to be somewhat ominous clouds. Certainly makes the flying a little bit more interesting. We're getting something of a tailwind. Not a great tailwind, but a slight one. Which should help speed up the last leg just a little bit. That should probably, unless that's ice, no, west. I don't know. I don't know there's a direct way other than I've got my little magenta line going, so I have a reasonable idea of where to go. Now that might go a little too north. We'll just kind of wander in a northwesterly direction for now and see how it goes. Well, hello. Yes, it is, Murph. Of course, we still have one leg left to go, so you're still more than welcome to join in mid-leg for a little bit. But yeah, no, I just need to get better at flying tailwheel, but I really enjoy the L-19. It's such a nice little airplane. At some point in time, we're going to have to fly it with floats. I like the Tundra one for bush flying. I wish it had more liveries available for it. But no, it's a solid little airplane. I really enjoy flying it. You know, it's glad I looked that way to switch tanks. It's a fun little airplane, and you know I'm a sucker for the classic Cessnas, and I can't wait for Coronado to start moving over their fleet. I'm really excited for the 170 and the 337 and the 210 and the 310 and all the Cessnas from Coronado. I'm looking forward to. Yeah, no, I agree, Murphy. I think if I had any technical niggly bits, I guess, I would say the throttle there seems to be some discrepancy between the engine input and the tachometer. Something in my mind it doesn't click, but I can't say what exactly. It's almost like this isn't calibrated correctly, and then the throttle responsiveness is a little slow. But beyond, and that could just be something I'm imagining, so I can't really concrete say that this is a problem. It's something I have a question of, which would honestly be something that I would consider asking somebody that has and flies regularly an L-19, but I'm just a armchair quarterback, basically. Yeah, it's around $30. You get all three of the models, or the variants: the float plane, the Tundra, and the standard. And you get a fair selection of different liveries. I think there's only 2 or 3 for the float and 2 for the Tundra. Most of them are for the standard version. But it's a nice little airplane. It's a nice compliment for all the Cubs. It's a nice little alternative for a 152. No, I'm looking forward to getting some Warbirds, for sure. Because who doesn't love Warbirds? Weather is definitely looking ominous where we're at, but it seems like it might be getting nicer as we get to Kansas City. Just a little bit blustery and windy. Nothing we can't handle. But yeah, no, fun fact, I forget what country it was. I want to say Spain. Could be wrong. built some of the L19s under contract, they put a different vertical stabilizer and rudder on. So the non-moving part is the vertical stabilizer, the moving part is the rudder. And also put a turboprop on it. So there's like a turboprop conversion for the L19. And I just thought that was kind of a little hilarious. It doesn't look bad either. But it's just kind of an interesting factoid. Yeah, when I read that, I had to look at it a couple of times to see if I was crazy. You have a good night, Keen. Thanks for swinging by as per normal, and wish you a pleasant evening, and we'll catch you next time. That'd be awesome, Murph. Now, between that, there's the F-15 that's gonna be awesome. I know that at some point DC Design said they were going to port over their freeware P61, which I'm excited for that. The T-45C's in development, and that's a nice looking aircraft, kind of along the lines of the MB339. I'm always down for a Coronado Cessna whenever their timeline, or whatever their timeline is. They've already managed to get 3, let's see, it's been August to September, October to November, December. So in, we'll say 4 months, they've put out 3 planes. So I think we're getting close to hearing about another Coronado airplane here soon. Milviz is working on a 310, a Cessna 310. That's exciting. Like the Corvette of general aviation. Good to hear about the PA-28. Yeah, and along the lines of steam gauges, I mean, there's so many. I mean, the 210 would be a nice step up from the 172 the 210 would start complementing like the Bonanza, and even the Mooney to a certain degree. I mean, I'd have to sit and go through their catalog. B60 would be fun. I'd really like to see a Cessna 206. That would be fun. The Staggerwing would be pretty nice. I wouldn't mind a V-tail Bonanza. That would be nice. T-34 Mentor. I mean, the whole list of single-engine planes from Coronado are a welcome addition in my book. You can't go wrong with them. Yeah, I mean, just the whole... You go down the product list and, yeah, I'd like that, and I'd like that. I'm partial to the Cessnas, but we all have our biases. I still like the little clicky bits. They may not be, the super accurate in flight physics or systems modeling, or they're not study level. They're not A2A airplanes, but they're still a lot of fun. They're still pretty good, and it's like flying this, having the ability to open the windows. That's pretty fun. And that's something that brings in a little immersion, and that's something I thoroughly enjoy. Ooh, that could be fun.
Heavy train traffic, Scotty 940 is in the hold. Turning inbound on the GPS runway 5 approach.
Delta 1025 cross Omar to maintain flight level 240.
Omar.
Throwing a little immersion, because I can. I mean, companies have had so much time to develop aircraft for X-Plane and FSX and prepared that, I mean, they have such a backlog of things that are still reasonably good quality that they can port over with some massaging and whatnot from X-Plane and or FSX and still look fantastic. I mean, they have a whole library to play with, which is great. The problem being, getting the MSFS SDK to function properly.
5858 cross Seoul to maintain flight level 250, maintain 280 knots now.
Control level 250, 280 knots.
South Southwest 2049, cross Goal to maintain flight level 250.
Goal at 250, Southwest 2049.
But yeah, it's just to think that this sim hasn't been out for 6 months yet, and it already has a lot of content. It's pretty nuts, pretty nuts.
Southwest 20,
It's great.
84 after Clee.
Kinda nuts.
Direct Will Rogers.
After Clee, direct Will Rogers, Southwest 2584.
So METAR for Kilo Mike Kilo Charlie updated. 2154 Zulu. Actually, it didn't update at all. It's about to update. Because it's still saying the temperature's 19, dew point -1,
Maintain flight level 310.
and it's still reporting winds are 0 knots. I'll give them the visibility though. But we'll see what happens here in a few minutes, see if it updates.
250.
Goal and maintain 250, Mercury 7.
But so far, we're going to look for runway 21 for landing. As I drift off a little bit.
Cross the river at flight level 200.
Cross the river, flight level 200,
19's the big runway. 21. I mean, depending on it all really just depends on where the wind is at. And absolutely, Dougal, this time next year we'll be sitting pretty. More planes than we know what to do with, and
Delta 2766.
scenery's all over the place.
300.
Delta 2766, Roger.
Closed runways won't stop me.
Southwest 2317, 270. Southwest 2317, Spencer, try and maintain flight level 370.
Okay, I'm totally broken up. Say again, Southwest 2317.
And Southwest 2317, clear direct Needles, try and maintain flight level 410.
Okay, direct Needles and climb maintain level 410, Southwest 2317.
And since you all passed the test at the last airport, I'll remember to go to the right so that we hit the correct runway, depending on what the winds are. .5154 Zulu, so it still hasn't updated.
Southwest 2584, contact center 133.2.
33.2. Great day, Southwest 2584.
So the airport's going to be right along the river, which is a handy dandy
Delta 2766.
tool for finding it.
Technical flight level 240, Delta 2766.
Skywest 3131, flight level 370.
Skywest 3131, Roger.
Center
Delta 1901 with you at 20.5 for 330.
Delta 1901, roger.
Nothing like some lemonade.
Delta 1794, passing 22.5 for 330. Delta 1794, Alexander, roger, not exceed 1.74. Not exceed 0.7.
Using 172 of 5 times and it's crashed 5 times. Yes, it has Tortuga. And on the Coven all seems good so far. That's interesting, Kembo. I'm not sure. Were you in the steam gauge or the G1000
Delta 1901,
172?
310 to the 1901.
Delta 960, 365 to 379. Delta 960 up in roger.
Yeah, Kebmo, double check your settings for the refresh rate on the instruments. It'll be on the, go in the general settings, graphics, and scroll all the way to the bottom.
November 241 Tango X.
And if it's anything other than medium, try changing it to medium.
American 2693, contact center 133.2.
332, American 2293.
It's a setting that they added a few updates ago to help try and help address some of the issues that were happening in like the 787 and whatnot with the anything with the G1000 or G3000. They're having a lot of issues, so they changed the refresh rates, and medium is the generally acceptable setting.
Zulu, Charlie, Delta 1007. Appreciate that.
And congratulations on finishing the trip, Scotland. It's an epic trip. And look forward to the new emote just for you on the Two Tone Murphy Discord server. It's a fantastic feat. Fly around the world.
Delta 1007, contact center on 133.2.
332, we'll see you, Delta 1007.
Air Transport 3342, contact center on 133.2.
332, we'll see you, Air Transport 3342.
And the way the clouds are, it almost makes me think like it's, you know, evening time in the sim. Kind of weird. Thanks, or the congratulations are well deserved, my friend. Now you just need to do it from north to south.
Contact center on 133.2.
Go over the poles. Do it in the Cub. Glad you enjoy it, Kepo. Hopefully that resolves the issues.
4, contact center on 135.15.
13515,
Yes. I agree, Murph. But yeah, hopefully those settings work for you, KDMO. Keep wanting saying to Kembo, and it's the other way around.
Center Skywest 3324, flight level 23.3 for flight level 350.
Skywest 3324, guys.
We always look forward to everybody joining in on the flight. I like to keep it nice and relaxed. Well, some days are a bit quieter than others, but I think that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Seaward 44 November.
And this thing will not win any speed records. I kind of want to take the engine performance numbers from the Cessna 172 and put it on this, but I won't, because I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to that anyway. I'd probably break something. It's like Murphy and Buttons, the recipe for disaster.
United 494, clear XT Sam Simone, Sierra Sierra Oscar, Zendurix Newman, Echo Whiskey Mike.
Wisconsin 3836, roger.
Definitely getting closer to Kansas City.
Center Delta 2592, 265, 350.
2592, SMS. Seabird 44 November, contact center on 128.6.
126, be visible, what is in the footlight?
November 95 Bravo November, cross the skull at flight level speed 250. Keep the speed up when you're able, 300 knots or greater.
I believe that was for 95 Bravo Delta, cross the school at 250, go fast.
November for 95 Bravo Delta, affirmative.
Will do.
Definitely deep in the heart of America's heartland.
I take 3344, cross the school at flight level 250, do not exceed 280 knots.
Okay, school at 250, not to exceed 280, 3347.
Well, I'm glad that I can keep it on the what does it the kids say, the DL. I like having a nice relaxed environment. It's part of what drew me to Murphy's channel. Relax, just said it the way it was, and we enjoyed it.
Horizon 2437, cross Momar, flight level 240.
Cross Momar, level 240, right?
Me talking natural. That's I'm gotten over some throat issues that I was having over the last several weeks. I think I'm kind of I'm in the groove. I'm in the in the cycle.
Sky was 3324, contact center on 133.2.
133.2, Sky was 30.
Let me double check the runway. And winds just still aren't reporting, so we're gonna end up with, was it 19 or 21? 21 runway, one of the two. I don't have a lot of information on this one, other than
United
going on about the bird dog a little bit. But yeah, look for runway 21. And if you see a big yellow X on it, don't pay it any mind.
34, climb maintain, flight level 390.
Maintain 393, land 1734.
And when Scotland does his pole to pole, north to south, and back again trip, we'll have to label that as something. Give him a chance to fly through Africa and over the Pacific.
37, contact center on 128.6.
28.6, right? 24.37.
Yes. See, the big yellow X's are there, so it's kind of like X marks the spot. It says, you land here. This is where you want to land.
Delta 2592, clear direct to San Simone, Sierra Sierra Oscar, then direct to Newman, restaurant change.
Sierra Oscar Newman Delta 2590.
I'm getting a rumbly in my tummy. I'm gonna need to eat soon.
Skywest 4169-340, descending across Corzo at 330.
There's 4169, Sonata.
Yeah, Scotland, do it, Blair. It'll take you the better part of 6 months. I hope the folks at Edinburgh give you champagne and all kinds of wonderful things when you landed there, after completing the epic journey.
21 for 27.
United 382, ascend for Roger, climb maintain, flight level 350.
Climb maintain, flight level 350, United 382. How the ride?
A nice dose of champagne. So, airport in sight. As well as eyes on Papa Joe B.
Needle, United 1734.
United 494, contact center on 12, correction, 135.15, 3515.
I believe this is the international airport for Kansas City, the big airport. And this is the greater Kansas City area.
American 1037, can Roger.
Gonna go ahead and reduce power, lose some altitude.
1734, contact center on 133.2.
33, 1734.
Dig the Air Force paint job on the G36.
United 382.
I have seen that Murphy has posted a wee video. I haven't had the chance yet to look at it over on the Two-Tone Murphy Discord. It was all going so well.
United 382, contact center on 133.2.
133.2, United 382.
Southwest 1274, clear to Newman, Echo Whiskey Mike.
Direct to Newman, Southwest 1274. Thank you.
It's alright, we'll get it all sorted out. We were this close.
Target 907, 25, from the 310.
United 907, roger.
Happened out of... What'd you load in War Hamster? What'd you do?
Southwest 6562, level 127.
Southwest 6562, center roger, clear direct, Lansing, climb and maintain the flight level 390.
Latitude 390, and they restricted us to 279.
Southwest 6562, resume normal speed.
Normal speed, Southwest 6562.
Southwest 2174, descend and maintain flight level 240.
240, Southwest 2174. Center Sun Country 404, comment level 230 for 270.
Sun Country 404, center roger, clear direct to Hackman, resume normal speed and climb and maintain flight level 390.
Okay, direct to Hackman. Can we put 370 on request for a little while?
Sun Country 404, climb maintain flight level 370 and resume normal speed.
Normal speed up to 370. Thank you, direct Hackman, Sun Country 404.
Wisconsin 3854, across Walter at flight level 200, maintain 280 knots or less.
Alright, Walter 200 and 280 knots or less. Wisconsin 3854.
It's all good. We'll get it. We'll get this leg finished up.
Envoy 2074, contact description United 2074, contact center 133.2.
332, United 2074, good night.
Good evening, Georgia said 328, flight level 230.
Georgian 7328, center climb maintain flight level 320.
Climb flight level 320, Georgia said 328.
It definitely seems like everything for using multiplayer planes and not having the generics was on fixed itself. Now here's what really gets me. That, so we'll do that. But once they fix the clicky issues with the Coronado plane, suddenly, well, then it all went sideways. That to about
United 907, climb, maintain flight level 350.
30 clear skies for starters. And that's what really gets me is I was still seeing regular models, but I have generic models turned on, so I'm a little confused.
Flat 3 Happy, contact Starter Center 133.2. Have a good day.
For lot 3, contact 153.2, good day.
It's done me a great confuse.
Delta 2147, Bucky at flight level 230.
And it's entirely possible I'm just having some significant just driver issues. So I may have to investigate better AMD graphics drivers.
Delta 932, 230.
Delta 932, Center 23 is going to be your final.
Thank you.
Pilot 4169, verify cross Bucky at flight level 230.
I don't know why it feels the need to spawn me in at 8,000 feet.
And Pilot 4169, maintain 300 knots.
I am indeed spawned back into the air at 8,000 freaking feet for some stupid reason. So we're gonna go a little unrealistic here.
Delta 2147, maintain 310 knots or greater.
310 or greater, no 21.
Wisconsin 4806, contact Center 133.2.
33.2, make it a great time, Wisconsin 4806.
Wisconsin 3854, contact Center 133.2.
133.2, Wisconsin 3854.
American 436, contact Center 126.87. Have a good day.
2687, we'll see American 436.
I swear there's a default, some sort of auto control, autopilot nonsense that the sim likes to put in when you spawn in air, and I hate it. I hate that it spawns you at 8,000 feet for some nonsensical reason. It makes no sense.
Georgia 7328 and Mini altitude, maintain flight level 290.
Stop climb, flight level 290, Georgia 72.
Southwest 1511, descend and maintain flight level 300.
Then maintain flight level 300, South 1511.
Well, cruise height shouldn't be at 8,000 feet.
At Wisconsin 30.
There's no need for 8,000 feet in the middle of Kansas. I will say this definitively: the default flight planning system in Microsoft Flight Simulator is awful. It's just plain awful.
Send out 2744 230.
Southwest 2744, Gunner, good afternoon, clear exit.
There's nothing redeeming about it other than clicking airport, selecting your things, and going. Beyond that, it's just terrible. That is if I point out one negative and stand by it definitively, that's the one thing. The flight planning in sim is just disgustingly bad.
Hello, Spirit Say 11 is 24.4 320.
Boeing 711, center, Roger.
And they've done little to nothing to address any of the issues that it has.
United 907, contact center on 132.42.
3243 907.
Alright, we're down, and now we can
683, flight level 320.
United 683, center, Roger.
park off to the side, start recording some landing.
United 683, descend and maintain flight level 240.
Descend and maintain flight level 240, United 683.
Let me get positioned.
Delta 2147, contact center 123.
The runway is cleared for
675, Delta 2147.
landings.
Delta 932, contact center 126.75. You have a great day.
U2 2675, Delta 932.
And Merlin Flyers down.
Center Delta 633, second in out of 250 for 320.
Southwest 1511, descend and maintain flight level 240.
Set file 240, South 1511.
As there's Poor Hamster and Dougal.
Georgia 73, 28, climb maintain flight level 330.
Climb flight level 330 towards the 32.
Fairlink 711, contact center 125.907.
2597, Spirit 711, call.
Next up is Papa Joe B.
United 683, cross river at flight level 200.
River at flight level 20.
Red Dragon is down, as is Pilot Peely. A little bit of bounce, but that's okay. Nothing wrong with a little bounce.
Southwest 1375, center climb maintain flight level 310.
I'm maintaining 310, Southwest 1375.
Bad Dog is going for a go around, maybe. Like I said, it's probably just bad graphics drivers. Because if I remember correctly, you're on a 5700 XT. I'm on a 5600 XT. So ever since I upgraded my graphics, it's been nothing but problem. As Commandant Muttley's in. There's down in front and Tortuga are in. As well as Barchetta. Who else do we have coming in? We have USA PR1. As we just catch Roger RC in his landing. Nicely done. Yeah, I'm going to have to see if I can get better drivers because having these crashes are just unacceptable. You take it easy, Papa Joe B. Thanks for flying along. And we will catch you tomorrow. Nicely done. Well, to everyone that flew along or just watched or some mix of the two. I very grateful for you coming along, for all the new follows and subscribes. I'm very grateful for. And I apologize for all the technical issues that plagued us tonight. But until next time, be good to each other. Stay safe out there. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.